Greetings and welcome to a prayerful pause on this election day. I am Nancy Woodworth-Hill, and amongst other things, I'm a spiritual director. Rather than sharing a form of prayer today, I'd like to introduce a diagram developed by my mentor, the Reverend Dr. Rob Voyle. It's an adaptation of Robert Dilts and Gregory Bateson's logical levels of learning. I find much wisdom in it, especially for a current season of great divisiveness in our country. This map is a spiral, and there are 7 domains. From the center outward, these are the source of life, called God or the divine. This life-giving source is lived out in our creativity, our caring, our hospitality, and so on. Moving outward from the center, the next is purpose. Our purpose is rooted in what we love to do, which can be many different things, and how we are a blessing to others, and we're connected to something greater than ourselves. Next, we find identity. Who are we? What is our vocation in the world? Then, values. What qualities do we treasure and respect? What is important to us? Next, we come to expectations. What do we look forward to? How do we understand success and move towards it? Then, skills and abilities. What are our natural skills? What skills have we practiced and learned? And finally, environment. What is the landscape we live in? Think nature, because it has an impact on us. And what have we developed or built? Think of physical as well as organizational systems, procedures, and so on. This diagram is very helpful in comprehending conflict, so to know where to begin the hard work of resolving it. We know that the further in towards the center of the spiral the conflict is, the more anxiety producing it is. Thus, the conflict over immigration, for instance, is located in the domain of identity. Who are we as a nation? What is our vocation in the world? So we must move to the domains of purpose and the source of life to hold the difficult conversations about our purpose as a nation and how that is to be lived out with regard to this issue. The challenge is we may not agree on our purpose as a nation either. My mentor suggested that in this case the solution lies in working together on a common project or learning to sit in silence together. As you can imagine, this can be long, slow, difficult work. It is holy work, and it also requires a different understanding of power. The kind of power that Jesus demonstrated is power with, rather than power over or power to. Another aspect which this map reveals is insight into the gut punch that we can experience and often not easily identify its source. This gut punch, when our values are trampled on, denigrated, scorned, or violated in some way. We all have values and hold some dearer than others. So an example of this may be helpful. Let's take the issue of mask wearing. One of our sons lives in Japan. It's a country with a high population density, as well as a culture where the group is more important than the individual. There's actually a saying, the nail that sticks up gets hammered down. When visiting Japan, it's common for me to see people wearing face masks as they are out and about shopping on public transportation in places where other people are. So this is often due to individuals having allergies or being ill, such as having a cold, and not wanting to spread it. The COVID infection rate in the area where my son lives is really quite low, and public schools have been open since July. Americans have a culture which values the individual over the group, and where mask wearing is not common at all when we are out and about. Thus, the rate of COVID-19 infection is much higher in the United States. Individuals who resist mask wearing likely have different culture, especially different sets of values from individuals who wear them. While this map cannot resolve this challenge of conflicting values, which needs to be done at the level of identity and more likely purpose, it is helpful to have this understanding rather than the pervasive gut level discomfort. If anything, such discomfort, when reflected on, can help us clarify our individual values. Another aspect to consider is when an individual or a group negatively judges the values of another person or group and adds contempt. This will become the source of alienation. The better path, rather than adding contempt, is actually to add curiosity and together begin to wonder about other possibilities. We also know that when purpose, identity, values, and expectations are not aligned, we do not have integrity. And our lives cannot be lived with clarity, rooted in purpose from which flows identity and our core values. The blockages that we experience may not be readily understood as flowing from a mismatch between purpose, identity, values, and expectations. It is worth time to reflect on these. I am fond of saying that there are faithful Christians in every political party. The question we have as followers of Jesus is, where does our primary allegiance lie? As Jesus himself said, we cannot serve two masters at once. In the Gospels, Jesus often speaks of the kingdom of God or the kingdom of heaven and invites people to enter, receive, and inherit this kingdom in the here and now, and to taste paradise. It is by aligning ourselves with gospel values, and I will acknowledge that there are different core sets in different branches of Christianity, but embracing these gospel values, we enter the kingdom and live from the source of life, the Christian Trinity, our purpose, which when we share it, fills some deep need of the world, and our identity as citizens of the kingdom, and our gospel values and expectations. Aligning ourselves in this way is a lifelong challenge, made easier when done in the company of Christian community and doing what I call our inner work. It's worth reflecting on your understanding of Christian values and how they align or not with the values you hold, as well as values that you were given when you were growing up or from peer groups that you may not be able to easily name or point to. No matter who wins this election, there will be large groups of people who experience it as a gut punch, a violation of their values, identity, and purpose. Please consider this when you are with others, and guard your lips, lest you move into contempt and bring about further alienation. This is the country in which we all live, and we need to figure out how to do this with one another. Go in peace.